The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast, and here is your host, Elliot J. O'Neill.
Welcome to episode 15 of The Simpsons Index? Probably. It's episode 15 of The Simpsons Index. And yes, I am your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me tonight is...
Dave Todd.
And...
Liz Stowe.
Guys, thanks again for having me over.
Oh, more than welcome to have.
And thank you again for delicious salmon and noodles.
Yeah,
Glad you enjoyed.
No, that's one of the things I love most about this podcast is having all you guys cook for me. It's amazing. So we just watched season 1, episode 12, Krusty Gets Busted. We're heading all the way back to the 80s, I think this one aired. Guys, what'd you think?
It was pretty good. I liked it.
You see a lot of what the show would become in this early episode, and all the evolutions that the show would take, sort of have its seeds here. Like, I think I could be wrong because I haven't seen many from season 1 in the recent years, but I think this might be the first episode where Homer starts really being dumb.
Yes.
Like the line, Marge, the clown is Gillty.
Yeah, the proper misspelling. Well, doesn't he do that later with when he goes to college?
I am so smart.
S-M-A-R-T.
S-M-R-T. I mean, S-M-A-R-T. Yeah.
I just thought it was really, there's the bare bones for what The Simpsons is going to become later on. It's really, you're just getting the setups for really like repeat characters. Like we get Krusty and Sideshow Bob, and you know, they have so many episodes later on, so we're just sort of starting to get that connection between Bart and Krusty, and you know, just those sort of, you know, seeds for beginnings for later episodes is really fun to watch.
So yeah, the first of the Sideshow Bob saga as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And
his revenge.
Yeah, and this one sort of had more of a weight on its shoulders in that it had to be an actual mystery and do a bunch of false leads and such, which it did well.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I liked about this episode was that there was a serious element to it. Like, all the characters actually gave a crap. So, like, Bart, when he was sad, he was actually sad. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm sad for a little bit, and I'm over it, I'm doing my next thing. He was actually, like, distraught. Like, he had all his Krusty stuff taken away, and it was burnt, and you could see the sadness in his face. They even had, like, a scene there where, like, it was nighttime and everything was cast in blue, and they were playing like sad music, and he was just pulling his Krusty doll string. And it was like, you know,
say it ain't so, Krusty.
Yeah, exactly. Buy my cereal.
Yeah, I like that. How the Krusty doll's repeated phrase was "buy my cereal."
Gotta think of the numbers, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just on that bit where the public burning. I love this. Of course, many of the characters haven't been established yet, especially the B characters, and Reverend Lovejoy, it's not too off character for him to do this thing. Like, I don't think he'd do this in the newer episodes, but in this one, it doesn't exactly seem out of place.
No, well, I mean, like, the first thing you see of Reverend Lovejoy is him, like, up at the podium with the stained glass behind him, like, people, this is an evil. We have to stamp it out. It was fantastic. It's like you get that real sort of, like, southern jibe to his evangelical, like, sort of regular digs where he eventually just kind of, well, he gets bored with it, doesn't he? And he's like, yes, the people and this and that.
That's true.
Flanders just screwed with his motivation to keep doing well.
Well, again, like, it's early on. They actually give a crap. They haven't been exhausted by themselves.
That's true. Chief Wiggum actually being a good police
at worst he was lazy.
That's true.
Doing the Miranda rights, he just
at least aggressive.
Blah.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. So, like, he was aggressively pursuing his police work, if not being terribly competent.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right. Yeah, he was being active and such. But yeah, I do love that bit with the Miranda rights. Anything you say, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So perfect.
And I guess this must have been just prior to he and Krusty becoming friends.
Yeah?
Yeah. So, I mean, like, when is it? It's when Homer becomes Krusty.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Chief Wiggo.
Chief Wiggum pulls over Homer dressed as Krusty and is like, "Oh, okay, give me my ticket." It's like, I think I nearly gave you a ticket, Krusty the Clown. You remember that time we released a whole bunch of beavers into that furniture factory?
Oh, and also the episode with Ralph Loves Lisa, where Lisa asks, how did you get the tickets for the Krusty Spectacular? And he goes, me and Krusty go way back.
Yeah.
So that must have been the first time they met, where they go into the same porno theater.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that must have been at least some sort of like leverage, or at least co-acknowledged secret that both of them want to keep. So they've got something to keep them together. Yeah.
That story's not appropriate for children.
I'm gonna keep my pants on in this one.
Oh, that's a great one. We'll have to do that one next time.
Yes.
Yeah, any other quotable moments that you can think of?
I liked that Lisa kind of has spunk in this. She's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like very un-Lisa. Like at the beginning, like her character develops later on. She becomes like very, very nerdy and square and everything. But she's kind of got a bit of spunk in this season.
Yeah. Actually, you bring up a good point. This might actually be the first Bart and Lisa detective mode story as well.
I believe it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just can barely remember season 1 as it is. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think like the rest of season 1, or like the earlier episodes to this, Lisa is more of an observer and like sort of like satirical commentator to any of Bart's sort of like antics.
Yeah.
So like Bart will be like, all right, now's our time to chance to be bad. And Lisa will sit back and say something like, oh, the onus of the young, and like pull out some sort of like satirical, intelligent thing that you wouldn't expect a kid to come up with.
Yeah, totally. And in this one, she's more like willing to accept that Krusty's going to a jail, and her old idol is now replaced with the new one of Sideshow Bob, and Bart's just not having any of this bullshit. And yeah, that is a different mode for Lisa, but again, nothing feels off point. Like,
No. Well, I mean, like, it's kind of funny that you bring up that Lisa kind of went along with the whole Sideshow Bob thing. One, she was very, let's just go with the flow, which was pushed by Homer as well, and Marge, and everyone was just like, get it with the winning team, boy. Don't
give in to mob mentality. I'm not giving in to mob mentality. I'm jumping on the bandwagon.
Oh, yeah.
Good quotes.
But I like that there is that Lisa Sideshow Bob, at least sort of like a familiarity. Like, she's like, he's gonna change television. He's gonna talk about like teen topics and eloquence, and
she probably liked his show, and I think you guys were ready to.
I liked his show. Like, looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
You'd watch Sideshow Robert Terwilliger's Cavalcade of Whimsy, I think it was called.
I believe it is, and that is impressive that you know the whole thing. I like that.
10 points.
It's been a while, but I have seen these episodes a million times.
Yeah, I was just going to call it Bob's show.
Yeah. That's not very eloquent.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Concise.
I mean, what was he reading? Jacob's Ladder?
No. Jacob's. No.
Is that even a book?
Reading Man in the Iron Mask.
That's
Oh,
it.
right.
Next week, chapter 35.
The tyrant. Right.
Jacob's
yes.
Ladder is definitely not for children.
I don't know books. I knew Cole Porter. I knew that reference.
Yeah. But yeah, I just like that. Lisa, being smart, was attracted to Sideshow Bob's level of intelligence, and you don't really see that further on. She's like, oh, well, he's a criminal, he tried to kill my brother, so I'm just going to completely dismiss all of his intelligence and charm and everything. Yeah.
But the episode did do a great job of, like, making you not think that Sideshow Bob was involved, but then doing the manic laugh at the exact right moment to make the audience feel smart. I'm like, we figured it out.
The trademark evil laugh as well. Yeah.
Beautiful laugh of Sideshow Bob's. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, just awesome voice work by Kelsey Grammer.
Yes.
Excellent.
And it's great to see it in season 1 because
Yeah.
a lot of the voices do change from season 1 going through. Like even Kent Brockman and
Yep.
Chief Wiggum, their voices didn't sound quite right, but yeah,
Even Krusty.
Yeah,
Even
Krusty was
sounded like
sounding a little bit, his voice, vocal
high pitched.
character
You could
changed.
hear the youth in the vocal cords, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But Kelsey Grammer was just nice
Nailed
to
it.
hear.
Yeah.
You know, his voice doesn't change.
No.
It's like, he's not doing a character. He's doing a character, but it's his voice. So.
Yeah. I think Kelsey Grammer's voice is pure sex all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I don't actually know what happened on Frasier because I was just sitting there just like, oh, talk more.
Tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. By the time that little like bit came up, I was a mess. New couch, please.
Yeah.
Fresh pants.
Totally.
Well,
Yeah, fantastic voice work. And I liked the little bit with Scott Christensen. Ken Brockman's off tonight. I don't know why. I just like
that was yeah.
It was just like a little bit of a change up. Like you didn't expect it,
Yeah.
and bam, there he is. This guy that we just kind of don't know who he is. So you feel like a little offset and like, oh, where's Kenny Brocklestein?
I'm wondering if Scott Christensen ever came back.
He
like-
did. He did.
Yes, he
yeah,
did.
yeah. He has
Yeah.
featured a couple of episodes later on. I can't recall which exact one, but I know that he does get cut to by Kent Brockman.
Oh, okay. So he he did such a good job replacing him that night. He became a on the field reporter or something.
Yeah, he was field. He was like B team or something. Yeah. What I found interesting though was Kent Brockman actually looked like Kent Brockman in this episode.
Yep.
If you go forward to the episode where Santa's little helper becomes Mr. Burns' attack dog, and Bart runs away, I think. No, wait. Have I got
Oh
this
no,
right?
then
that's a
Bart's
later
looking for
one.
him, and he's all tanned and everything.
Ah.
No. This is a little bit different. It was when Bart ruins Thanksgiving, actually. So
Yep.
and Bart runs away, and he gets on the news at the soup kitchen, and you've got Kent Brockman there, but all his lines are smooth. He's got like a sharp nose. He's got finer features. He's got
that's
more slicked up
right.
hair.
And
It's
then
like-
he's just completely off model when he's driving away in the car.
and he
I
sounds
remember
different
that.
as well. It's like, thanks, kid. You just won me an Emmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially in this season, because I think this might even still be one of them, the episodes that were made by Klasky Cuspo. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but...
Klasky Schupo.
Yeah, it's C-S-U-P-O. Yeah.
Passenger.
Yeah. But yeah, they're the same guys who like did the animation for Our Real Monsters, Angry Beavers,
wow.
Rugrats.
Pretty
and-
much all the early Nickelodeon stuff.
Yeah, and they only did the first season of The Simpsons because they did such horrible and inconsistent work that
Yeah.
they were like, fuck it, we're going to get a bunch of Koreans to make it now. Yeah. So it's, and yeah, that's why it's sort of Krusty is so off model in this one as well. He looks different in every scene, but I don't think it detracts too much. And
well, not from the story anyway. I mean, like, from the viewing experience, you think, oh, that looks a little bit different, but it just adds a quirk, I think.
Absolutely. Oh, and the whole I didn't do it thing.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a good
Bart
point.
plagiarizing his own idol on his own show later on, and he didn't even notice.
That's
No.
right.
That is astounding. I didn't do it. And that was even like his tagline as like the cops are dragging him up the steps into the courthouse or into
Yep.
the...
I didn't do it.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go back to that line multiple times and like they enforce that it is Krusty's line, and then
Yeah, and every time he says it, like everyone laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
and yeah, you're right. It's because Bart got employed on Krusty's show for saying that. Oh my god.
Which he apparently invented.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid's a genius. It's crazy. I do like, also, I don't know if it's the first time there's the repetition of the words in, like, as the memory, like the big shoes to fill.
Oh,
big shoes
yeah.
to fill. But if
Yeah.
it is, then that's great because it's like the beginning of, there's so many.
Dental plan.
Yeah, Lisa needs
Liver
braces.
helps us play.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just one of my favorite Simpsons like gimmicks is the repetition because your brain works like that.
Yeah, and they really stopped doing that at one point, and they never go back to it.
No, that's true.
And you're
Yeah.
right, it is something you do. Like,
Yeah.
in everything we just said, did any of us say, is there a chance the track could bend?
No.
I'm saying it now.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Last time we did that. Yeah. That's how I'll pick the episodes with you guys. All ones that involve the repetition.
The repetition. Yeah.
Like repetition is my job.
Yeah.
Repetition is my job.
Which is also from the same I Didn't Do It Boy episode. Oh, it comes back full circle.
It is too.
Storyline, yeah, A throughout. No, I guess there's sort of like offshoots of the A storyline, but there's no like real distinct A, B, C stuff. It's just...
It's all A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you sort of just get little glimmers from everyone's point of view, but it does spend a long time, like, not directly informing you that Sideshow Bob's the one who committed the crime, which I think was amazing. Like, and yeah, I don't know if you could actually put it together yourself before A Manic Laughter. Maybe, I don't know. But I thought, you know, it's good for rewatching because when you go back, you do see that they set it up well with having Krusty multiple times, like, abuse Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
Whether it's trying to shoot him out of a cannon or just directly punching him in the face. And I like that Sideshow Bob was ready to sell out with merchandise, but with, like, only high-class things like commemorative coins.
And plates.
Yes.
And plates.
Oh, because kids like plates.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
that's
and
pretty
when they
good.
were showing a clip from Krusty, he goes, this clip from 1986, and I was like, holy shit, I was born in that year.
Oh my god. I liked the actually just to go back to a quotable moment, but and this is Selma taking a siesta.
I go, right.
I just love it.
Actually, I think that is one of the first of the Patty and Selma slideshows.
Yeah, that's true.
Which, you know,
That's
proved
probably
to be,
why.
like, so advantageous later on, you know.
Patty
with,
and Selma looking gross.
I was actually thinking, because,
yeah.
like, I do remember not doing, like, slideshows, but, like, when you were a kid going over to visit relatives, a photo album would end up coming out, sort of more like that. And it's like, wow, really don't do that these days. Just relatives stick the album up on Facebook and you peruse it if you feel like it. But if you don't want to see your auntie taking a siesta, you don't have to.
Exactly. Ooh, 8 carousels. We're in for a great night.
Yeah. But, like, if you think about it, like, a lot of great things have happened, well, momentous, we'll say, like, during Patty and Selma's slideshows. So this, Krusty got busted and Bart had his, like, hopes and dreams dashed because his idol was arrested. Down the track, you've got Homer accidentally making the Flaming Homer, later to become the Flaming Mo, during one of the slideshows because he ran out of booze to make the whole slideshow thing bearable. And then later on again, I think it was Homer Cubed. Patty and Selma have come down.
No, they brought the oysters for shucking.
That's right, shucking oysters
Suck 'em out.
and the crabs. All right, so never mind. I thought that was a slideshow. Never mind. I think my theory is busted.
Well, there's at least 2.
At least 2.
There's at least 2.
Yeah, but it takes 3 times to statistically.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
No, but it does get me thinking if they wanted to do, like, Patty and Selma doing that equivalent, like, I don't know, guilting the Simpsons into looking at their Facebook pictures and like, I saw you only liked the first 3.
Or you can just like the album and not like all the
Yeah, exactly.
The blanket like. All right, questionnaire. Do you remember watching this back in the day? Early memories of when?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Wow.
It was. I'm going to say it was probably a rerun. It wouldn't have been the original airing because it was really, really early. But again, it was at my grandparents' house, lying on the carpet in front of the TV.
Yeah.
6 o'clock. The news probably should have been on, but I had guilted them into switching it over to Channel 10. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's the thing with Australian and The Simpsons. Like, it didn't air on our shores till like 91, 92, so...
Yeah.
Oh, this is the bad pun. We hit the ground rerunning.
Oh, Elliot, I love you.
So, yeah, by the time it hit our shores, there were already 3 seasons banked up, so it was all... it was, like, was syndication when it started here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Any early memories?
It would have been a rerun on Channel 10. I'm pretty sure. I don't actually remember watching it, but I haven't seen it many times. It would have been maybe once, twice max.
Yeah.
But I just remember these season 1 episodes. It's funny. I don't know.
They're burned in there.
Yeah, it's crazy. More so than any of the later episodes.
No, totally. One of my memories from back in the day, and this is just a weird thing, I thought because in the courtroom where he goes Exhibit B, betting slips, I'm like, I don't remember who I asked, but I was like, so you call the exhibits by the letter that the thing starts with? Like, I thought because it started with a B, that it had to be Exhibit B.
Here's an
A
aardvark.
is, well, I was going to say, like, Exhibit A is a footprint.
All the way to Z.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't look at what Exhibit C was. Do you remember what Exhibit C
They
was?
were a bit sketchy and weird. There was like
Yeah.
it looked like a footprint, actually.
A footprint was Exhibit A.
That was A, yeah.
Yeah. And then B was the betting slips. What was C?
I didn't pay attention
Wouldn't
to
have
that.
a clue, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be a good one for trivia.
Obscure background references that you'd only know if you've watched the
Very
episode.
obscure.
Exactly. Oh, man.
How many times do you think you've revisited this? Liz, you said probably 1 or 2 times, not many.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say on purpose revisited.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen them rerun on TV. But I'd have to say, yeah, probably like 3 or 4 times. So
Yeah, just purely from a rerun standpoint, I feel like this one would be in the 30s for me, because...
Wow.
Wow.
And again, you know, I go back and rewatch them all very often, although season 1 doesn't come up that often, but I think this was on disc 3 as well, so, like, which is a good part of the later half of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, are there any jokes that you only noticed on this viewing that might have flown over your head as a kid? I know for me, I didn't notice just the little things, like Reverend Lovejoy saying, you know, these are children's toys, so the flames will spread quickly. Or Bart just, when Sideshow Bob goes, what is it, the other kids don't accept you? And Bart goes, yeah, that's true, but that's not why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of any jokes that I kind of missed, really, but that, you know, I can't really remember looking out for them on purpose before either. I think it's more of one of those comfortable episodes that I just kind of cruise through and I just, like, let it happen at me. Yeah. How about you?
No, not really. I haven't watched it enough times.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
Oh, fair enough. But you do stumble, and we've sort of, found this as a concept. Like, there are these episodes that are just total comfort food.
Yeah.
You know, these are the rainy day, I'm sick, put it on, I need to feel good.
Yeah.
Sort of things. Yeah, it's a warm lasagna on a rainy day.
Warm feels.
Yeah.
I actually have a memory of being creeped out by the big shoes to fill, and, like, it dawning on Bart, and even the... You know, the crazy laugh and the security footage kind of creeped me out as a kid, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, only good-hearted people have short feet. I mean...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I actually, that was one thing that I remember, well, that I just noticed seeing in this now was the large feet spinning down. So you had all the outlines of large feet, all in different colors, and they were spinning down into Krusty's yelling mouth, or like during the large shoes to fill sort of repeat. So I just thought that was like an interesting little sort of like animation thing that I never noticed before, and I thought, oh, that looks cool. I like that.
No, that's a good point to hit on. The animation in that bit was brilliant. The way they visually suggests how the penny drops, and like how Bart puts it all together and like you were saying before, Liz, how your brain does kind of work that way, where like you just get flashes of things and then it all makes sense now. Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you see yourself putting this episode on again?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Might go out and buy season 1 now?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's what I'm going to send Dave out to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the wackiness of this episode. It was pretty well rooted in realism, I found, for even such a wacky thing as Clown commits armed robbery.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think for The Simpsons, compared to how wacky they have become,
Yeah.
it was the equivalent of a friggin' CSI episode here.
Yeah,
At
that's
least in the
true.
early years before they had like the zoom and enhancedness. But yeah, no, I mean, like everything followed a fairly logical path. No one did anything that was really zany or wacky. I think the wackiest thing was would have been Sideshow Bob not getting blown out of the cannon with real gunpowder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an incredibly irresponsible section of Krusty's show. Just, all right, let's get a 4-year-old to light a cannon on stage.
With a full-grown man inside. Yeah.
And I was trying to work out from the staging where the cannon was pointed, because, like...
Oh, directly into the crowd.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pointed forward, like, directly, like, just off to the would have been the right of the camera.
Yeah.
So that'd be, like, what, stage left, I guess?
Yeah.
And, yeah, straight into the crowd. Straight into the crowd.
Well, good thing he launched backwards that time.
Actually, could you imagine if it was successful?
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
have, like,
exactly.
this middle-aged scorched man blasted into an awaiting stand of children.
Episode would have taken a very different turn. Krusty the Clown gets sued as 12 children die from a flaming Sideshow Bob.
and just to really, like, highlight this, he's half naked as well.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
And he's wearing like a grass skirt, I'm pretty sure, as
Yeah,
well.
that's right.
That would not hold up well.
Why did he not change his outfit when he classed up his show?
I was actually thinking that. I'm like,
Consistency, I think.
Probably.
It's,
yeah.
yeah.
He's working on it, maybe.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
gonna-
he would have
wasn't-
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
eventually.
like, by the time it was definitely his own show, he would have gone for an image change and had,
Yeah.
like, the full-blown, like, proper, like, suit, smoking jacket, fez, perhaps.
Yeah, to tame that with those wild locks.
Yeah. So he'd probably start off the show in a nice trimmed suit, and then as the evening wore on, he would finish up with the story dressed in the smoking jacket and fez
Yep.
with perhaps a pipe and cigar, if he thought it wise to smoke in front of the kids.
But they only gave him one damn season.
I know. Yeah. And if only he'd signed that contract. I mean,
Yeah.
they make a point. It was like, oh, we can sign all the contracts tomorrow, right? And he's like, yeah, that's fine.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
if-
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Well, what would happen if he did sign the contract? Would they keep the contract? Like, is it something they would have thought to put in the fine print that if he goes to prison as
Yeah.
like a convicted like robber / framer guy, like would that cancel the contract? Would they
I'm
have
sure
to?
just anyone in showbiz, like, it's happened enough times, even by the 90s, that they were like, okay, we've got to put a prison clause in this. And it's
Yeah.
like,
True.
no disrespect. It's just, you know.
Another thing I thought was really interesting is like they had a full criminal trial as well.
Yeah.
For like a robbery, an armed robbery. Yes, but
That
it was
is
like
an offense.
but it was like a murder trial sort of thing. Like, it was sort of,
Yeah, it
it's
was
like
pretty
a small,
hardcore.
Yeah, exactly. Normally that's a.
Well, it's like
Small
usually.
court.
Well, I mean, like they'd have a hearing, but
Maybe it is just a high-profile hearing because it is Krusty.
That's true.
But, I mean, just lastly on the wackiness, I do still, to this day, there's no way that Bob could look like Krusty. Like,
No, yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, and sound like him as well. I mean, like Bob's got some dulcet tones going.
yeah.
And then like to change like the hey, how's it going to like oh come on, yeah, it just
Yeah.
doesn't really.
Actually, one thing I noticed was they actually referenced Krusty's heart attack on
Yeah.
the show, and then we hear about him having a pacemaker, and then it becomes part of Krusty's pacemaker scar.
Yep.
Do you hear?
His
this
ubiquitous third nipple and
Yeah.
his was it the Longhorn birthmark?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? It's a
Yeah.
birthmark, of course. But yeah,
But
and,
it becomes part of his identity that he's a part of the Zipper Club.
Yeah.
And that's like probably one of the first references that he, having the heart attack on air.
Yeah.
And everyone's laughing. They're like, oh, Krusty.
yeah. So yeah, like we we're saying, lots of seeds
Yeah.
got planted.
It's true.
All right, heart. I think the heart was in Bart. Excuse the rhyming.
No.
Draw attention to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, how he just never gave up on his idol.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
The Bart
Well, I
and
mean,
Lisa.
like,
yeah, and Lisa coming to Bart's help to.
Yeah. I'm never gonna forgive you for making me say this, but
Yeah.
you're smarter than me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then her gloating.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, like, Bart was properly heartbroken in this
Yeah.
episode. Like, they really made a point of, like, showing him being sad and down, and like the world had changed for him, and then for Lisa to come along and be like, all right, I'll help.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I mean, it's definitely that early on Simpsons. We've got heart, we've got soul.
And Krusty actually giving credit to Bart as well, because later on they make a joke about him,
Yeah.
like, who are you? You know, like, I saved you. Well, what have you done for me lately? I got you that bagel. Yeah.
And I'll
Oh.
never forget it.
Oh my god, that's the I Didn't Do It Boy episode.
exactly.
Again.
I think I know. Yeah, that's it. We're watching that one next time I come around. Ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's rank this thing. Liz, kick it off. Where are you leaning?
Oh, I was going to go gold, but I think I have to go cubic zirconia.
Wow.
I think it's just such a memorable episode. It has all of the building blocks for so many later episodes.
Yep.
It's the beginning of the Krusty Bart relationship, the beginning of the Sideshow Bob getting even with Bart, and you know, revenge, and
Yep.
you know, Patty and it has lots of characters as well, Patty and Selma and Reverend Lovejoy, and you know,
Yeah.
Chief Wiggum, and there's just
Rockman,
so
wow.
many. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
just so totally Simpsons. I laughed, and it had great storyline as well. I thought, yep, it ticks all the boxes for me.
Excellent. All right. Cool. How about you, Dave?
All right. Well, for me, I am kind of on the opinion that yes, it did plant a lot of seeds, but a seed is not a flower.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Controversy.
yeah. Well, like yes, it had a lot of it ticked all the boxes. Yes, but it didn't have that certain something that made The Simpsons extremely quotable. It didn't work its way into my everyday life. It was a definite memory. But this isn't an episode that I would go back to and say, hey, you remember that episode of The Simpsons when this happened? Yeah. Oh, that was funny. Yeah. And then, like, we'd quote each other, like, you know, for the next 20 minutes until we told them to go back to work. So I'm not going to silver it. I'm going to gold it.
Nice.
Yeah. So it is definitely gold. And simply for the fact that it ticks a hell of a lot of boxes for later episodes. It's got a lot of heart. Got good story, sets up a lot of relationships that you then see turn into something different. So you've got the Krusty and Wiggum, you've got Bart and Lisa, you've even got a bit of Bart and Homer in there.
Bart and Sideshow Bob too.
Exactly, Bart and Sideshow Bob. So it's definitely a sort of a beginning point, but for me, you got to have that certain something that what the French call a certain, I don't know what. But yeah, and I see that in a lot of later seasons, so probably I'm going to say like sort of season 4, 5, 6. You get that real kick to it, like they really kick it up a notch. But yeah, for me, for this one, gold.
Yeah, I get that opinion. I mean, if I could split the vote, it'd totally be a gold cubic because I agree with you, but also, like, when I watch back of it, I don't think there's anything, like, definitively wrong besides its age. And so whether I should or shouldn't, give an extra allowance, but either way, for me, I think it's like, if you watched nothing else from season 1, you'd watch this one, and that's why I give it a cubic zirconia, because, I don't know, maybe it is just nostalgia feeding my opinion here, but God, Liz, you're right. The seeds that are there,
Yeah.
and those are some good seeds, man. Seeds are tasty sometimes.
Well,
You ever
that's why
just sat there eating sunflower seeds or poppy seeds? Oh.
Yeah, true. But I mean, if I had a choice between a seed and a bud, I would choose a bud.
Actually, that's true. I generally get angry when I get a bag full of seeds when I wanted a bag full of buds. But anyway, So we're going to move on to the next episode now. And we don't know what that is yet. So
No, let's
Ooh,
spin the wheel. Yeah.
And we are back. We just watched season 18, episode 7, Ice Cream of Margie, in brackets, with the light blue hair, end brackets. Guys, what'd you think?
Dave.
I didn't hate it, and I am surprised with myself. Actually, it's definitely in the later seasons. It's past season 9, so I definitely. It's in the tribe of Simpsons episodes that definitely is not my own. But that being said, I caught myself laughing out loud at a few of these jokes.
Yeah.
Little bits felt sterile, but that being said, like, some of the jokes are actually on point.
Totally. How about you, Liz? What'd you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I laughed quite a bit. Some jokes were quite predictable and some were a little bit cringy.
Yep.
But a lot of it was actually quite surprising. I laughed quite a bit more than I was expecting to, and I enjoyed the plot.
Yeah.
It felt quite, there was a story A, story B kind of, Marge being, the artist again, and you could sort of see how there was a few different offshoots for different stories for different characters, and that feels like very kind of, old school Simpsons style.
Yeah, some of the things we like are in that. So yeah, just a quick synopsis for those that might not be familiar with this one, because it is a later one. So this one, Homer predictably gets fired from the nuclear power plant and has to get a new job, and so he becomes the new ice cream truck guy, and Marge dabbles in folk art with using the leftover popsicle sticks that Homer accumulates.
Seems legit.
Yeah, which is like a nice, simple story. So yeah, just getting right into it, like... sort of like the more cringeworthy moments, I think, like, were like the jokes that were drawn out way too long.
Yeah.
Like the Mo getting really touchy-feely with his popsicle stick Mo version of him.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of see how that makes sense, because Mo, being a very lonely person, could only love Mo.
Yeah.
I think it would have just been a funnier, quicker joke, but instead it was like they spent so long on Mo going, yeah, come closer, oh, you're not lonely anymore, and like it dragged on too long, I thought.
Yeah.
And like the Homer and Marge fucking joke, let's slow things down, and he's playing the ice cream music on the vinyl, and he turns the RPM down, and that's funny, but they're like making out for like, I don't know, 10 seconds or something. It was just too long. It should have been quicker.
Even the this is the most fun I've had giving you wood. I was like, oh, come on.
I didn't know whether or not I hated that joke or not. I'm still on the fence.
I'm laughing about it now, but I don't
know if it's funny, but it's definitely punny.
Yes, that's true. It had pun value.
Oh yeah, and another joke that was drawn out too long, Homer with the lactose intolerant kid. I thought, like, even the joke was a bit shit, like, oh, I don't like anyone who's intolerant of lactose, but the joke would have been funnier if he ended there, but they just kept going, and like Homer like raping the kid with the ice cream stick, and then the kid's like, oh, call the number on my bracelet. And then he's like, oh, you're gay. You wear a bracelet.
You got a bracelet. Who's your boyfriend? Oh,
Yeah.
doctor something. Yeah. I mean, it definitely had a lot of non-finer points, but then it had some really funny shit in it as well. I mean, Homer seeing Mr. Burns as an ice cream.
Yeah.
That
was
whole
kinda funny.
exchange was awesome. Where Mr. Burns is giving him the dressing down and it's like, you better shape up or else you
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And then he turns into the ice cream and he's like, come and get a lick, big boy.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, it's Homer getting to see Mr. Burns as Smithers would. Really?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one.
I think he views him as more than a tasty ice cream cone.
Yeah. Well, that's just, it's like we've only ever seen like Mr. Burns sexualized by Smithers.
Yeah.
You
That's
are
it. It's
quite
like this...
good at turning me on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that
But,
dream
like,
where they're flying in through the window?
Yes.
So yeah, may not have necessarily been on purpose, but yeah, they made Mr. Burns sexy in this one.
Actually, you know what I liked about that opening bit as well is, like, they got Homer into the story very quickly. Like, there was a sketch at the beginning with the office chairs and whatever, and that was a mixed mash of good and bad jokes. But then, like, once he's outside, he gets to the ice cream truck, and then bang, we're into the story. Like, whereas newer episodes tend to spend too long setting up the story, and it's like not until the second act where you know what is happening in the episode.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas, yeah, this one got it happening straight away, and like that makes it like become a bit more of a definitive Simpsons episode because you can go, oh, it's the one where Homer becomes the ice cream
guy.
It just flows nicely as well between the setup and.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like you said, there's an A and a B story happening, but they're both intrinsically connected to each other, which is another thing that newer Simpsons ignore, connecting storylines.
Oh, can I just mention?
Yeah.
Just one problem I had with it is it's like, you know, there's Homer that dumb, and you've got Homer. Okay, Homer was like very aggressive in the first sort of seasons. Then he just became dumber and dumber.
Yeah.
And then it's like he's kind of like mean and nasty in the later episodes, and I just felt
jerk-ass
like,
Homer, as they call him.
Jerk-ass Homer kind of started shining through a bit in this episode, and it, you know, just being the, you know, oh, you know, this is my face, you know, it's kind of lost a bit of its sweetness, a little bit of its heart through Homer being a bit of a jerk. In the beginning, it wasn't because he was dumb, it was because he was an actual jerk. Like, it wasn't because he was just thinking about any, you know, only himself. It was just kind of a bit nasty, and I don't know, that's just kind of where it let it down for me.
Sure. I didn't think the turn, like, he was a bit jerk-assy in the start, but I don't think, like, the turn was that much of a dick move on Homer's part. Like, to be fair, he got there on time, but surely they saw the ice cream truck with a bear and an owl and a squeaky voiced teen stuck to the windscreen careening towards it, and like Marge should have thought, oh my god, he's had a terrible accident. I didn't think it was a particularly strong turn, but
then, like, 20 years of Marge putting up with Homer's shit and him ruining all of her, all of her creations and passions.
Yeah.
And then him, you know, oh well, okay, you know, here we go again.
Yeah.
But then again, Marge does always have her painting as well. I mean, like this, just to me, it kind of felt like a rehash of Marge painting. So it's like, it's her creative thing. So it's like, oh yeah, it's like I'm good at painting. Oh look, I'm good at folk art. Oh look, I can make stuff out of popsicle sticks. Homer, support me in this, and then it's not supported, and then
Yeah. I don't know. I thought he was a bit more supportive in this one. Oh, I mean, at least passively, like by collecting the sticks and
giving her wood.
Yeah, giving her wood. Yeah, I like that joke. I think I'm
it's growing on you.
I give that joke a bronze.
It's a dick joke. It's worth a chuckle. Yeah.
Yeah. And it did go on a bit too long, but I liked the Ali G reference.
I didn't mind it either.
But yeah, so like, I mean, a bit of a mixed episode overall, but yeah, you're right. We were laughing out loud at certain moments, and I think especially towards the end. And this one was a great argument for, like, you can have a not so strong beginning, but if you end it, it'll be better than an episode that, like, started strong but crawled to the finish line. And like this one, like, after the turn and Homer being sad and sending in the Polaroids, oh my god, I love that bit. And he's like laughing at the last one because the cat fell down the
stairs. Actually, that was probably my all-time favorite joke of that episode, because I laughed really hard. It was like an old Simpsons kind of joke.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, he had so many good quotes in that last bit. Oh, I'm sorry for having massive flaws that I don't work on.
Yes, I laughed really hard at that one too. Yeah.
But I mean, like, again, like I think with The Simpsons, at least in this episode, the story may not have been as strong as it could have, at least in the first part anyway. But if you've got your set up knockdown jokes and you've got them on point,
that's true.
if you get people laughing, they're going to remember, it's like, oh yeah, I laughed at this, I laughed at that, I thought this was good, I thought that was good.
Yeah.
I can't really remember, like, the whole point of the story, but
characters either. It was very light on the characters of the episode.
There there were a few. I mean, like, you had Lenny and Carl with the whole, like, are they together thing.
That was probably like...
Mo, Disco Stew.
No, you're right. It was close in on Homer and Marge for this one.
Van Houten was in there as well.
Yeah, they that was a great bit. The divorced dad's picnic and so...
Yeah.
Homer's like, come on, dads, you can buy a little bit of happiness. And Kirk's like, I'm not falling for a trick that.
I don't know if it was definite. I don't know if I was just kind of like seeing it in some of the animation there, but one of the guys looked like one of the writers that got fired from the Grandpa Simpsons writes the Itchy and Scratchy episode.
Oh, yeah.
The
so, bucket hat.
And he's got like the long hair and the like the beard and everything, and he's there with his kid, and it was like, yeah. That's...
Isn't that just buzzwords that dumb people say to make themselves sound smart?
Yeah.
Synergize.
No, they do, like, they've got like a predictable bunch of background characters that they used, and some of them are based on their writers, yeah. Like,
yeah.
And you see like Richard Sakai pop up as well as like,
yeah.
All right, cool. That's good for the general chat. Did you have any other quotes or anything you wanted to go over?
Well, no, I think pretty much like Burns is the ice cream. Come and get a lick, big boy. And sorry for having flaws that I don't. Yeah, I think those were my two favorite. I
kind of laughed at the iPods whipping people.
Yeah,
I was a bit like I just thought it was so what the fuck.
That was so left of field.
It was so what the fuck that I kind of enjoyed it.
And it's funny, it really does date the episode to what was it, 18th season, so it aired in like 2007. Yep, that is so an iPod era.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. It's funny also because Comic Book Guy makes a joke about how there haven't been any good Star Wars movies at all. And it's like, oh my god, that joke is so dated now because Force Awakens was fucking awesome.
Yes.
It was, yes.
You guys bought that on...
Oh, yeah.
No, look, if you have a look,
you can see it from here.
Top left corner of our like DVD library.
Yeah.
I mean Blu-ray. Sorry. Yeah. It's Yeah, no, it's there. It's definitely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next installment.
I was really, really fucking drunk last week, and I woke up and had a bill for $50 on my iTunes. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? I looked on Force Awakens, Civil Wars, iTunes plus extras, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the shit out of both those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into the questionnaire. You guys haven't seen this one before at all?
No, never.
No. I remember seeing it here and there, dribs and drabs, bits and pieces on Foxtel. I always remembered liking it. It wasn't one of the ones that offended me. You know, didn't recoil when it came on, didn't turn it off, which leads me to the next question. Would you guys watch this one again?
Probably, but like simply for the Mr. Burns as an ice cream.
Yeah.
So just set that on repeat. just
hey, big boy.
Just secretly sit there in my own little like pleasure realm. I was like, Mr. Burns, oh my.
You're gonna have that dream where he comes in, flies through the window as an ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got to admit that did it for me. It was like they put the audience in Smithers and just made you look at Mr. Burns. It was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'd hit that. I'd lick it.
Hey, it put me at ease. I laughed quite a lot. I would definitely watch this again.
Yeah, it didn't kill the legacy.
No.
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about the wackiness. Kind of grounded. Wackier moments, I guess, with the Ali G bit. Let's put on my clothes in an unusual way.
Yeah.
The whole ice cream van careening down the hill was just wacky.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the whole bit with the owl, the squeaky voice Ted and the bear, or what do you reckon?
Kind of, but only because it reminded me of an earlier episode where Bart gets his Ferrari. And he's driving along. You got the candy cane and the letterbox and the owl. Oh, what a ride! You're telling me. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, it kind of did hark back to I'm going to say it, a better era of The Simpsons. But yeah, it was just sort of a build up. Like, oh, there's an owl. Oh, there's a kid. Oh my God, there's a bear. And then, like, you put on the wipers, and each wipe takes away one thing. Did very much set up the predictability of the joke, though. It was like, oh, he's gonna hit the thing, and the bear's gonna go, and you're gonna be
Oh,
but,
what's the other joke that you totally called? Oh yeah, Homer goes, "What'd you do with all the ice cream, Marge?" And she goes, "I threw it in the dumpster."
Wrong
he jumps in the dumpster.
And then he's rifling around in the dumpster, and Dave goes,
wrong dumpster.
and then Marge goes, "Wrong
dumpster.
Yeah.
And that is sort of the problem when they sort of drag the jokes out, is that you can see where they're going, or you wish they didn't go that long.
No, from a mile away, you can smell them. They're stinky.
Yeah, and that was essentially with the problem with the bear and the squeaky voice team and the owl. It did go on a little bit too long. I liked the build-up of the animals, because, like, the owl, you're like, oh my God, he hit a bird, but then squeaky voice team, ridiculous, and then bear, super ridiculous. Like, I thought it was technically right, maybe not as laugh-out-loud funny moment.
It was zany, and it wasn't particularly wacky, though. It was just sort of, I don't know, yeah, there was bits, but it was a bit... I didn't feel like, it flowed quite well, but it did feel a little bit disjointed. Yeah. I guess it was missing the heart. Usually you ask, does it have heart? That's probably one of the questions that are coming.
Well,
coming up.
That's it brings us right into the question of heart right now. And I would have felt more heart for Marge if, like, the start of her story wasn't so ham-fisted.
Yes.
Because her story got brought up by the Oprah parody, which is called Opal. I hate it when they do this shit.
Too. I know.
It's like, just fucking make fun of her and call it Oprah, and fucking, have the balls to fucking do this shit.
Exactly.
And they weren't even saying anything bad against Oprah in it anyway.
No.
It's just, because, that was just Marge watches a program on TV about successful women, and now she's depressed. And, it didn't have a lot of weight behind it.
No, it didn't. It was very opportunistic, kind of storytelling. It didn't really make much sense,
Well, it was very much the clinical aspect of the setup, knockdown.
Yeah,
side
and no one freaked out that Homer lost his job, Homer, like...
Oh, by this
they're
point,
just
he's lost his
yeah.
job
I
so
guess
many
they're just
times.
going with it. They're just going with it.
Yeah. I mean, this is an episode after the one where Homer makes the joke where he spends a minute listing off all the jobs that he's had.
Actually, in a previous one of these podcasts, you actually mentioned this is one of Homer's job episodes.
Yep.
Having a different job episode. So you can definitely tick this one.
Yeah, chalk it up.
Ice cream truck driver.
I mean, it was good in the way that they got to it quickly, and it it was a good reason he got fired. He was goofing off on the job. And then, I don't know if I like this joke. The Mr. Burns going, "You're meant to be a roller hockey team. Stop and give me 2012s." I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
A little bit zany.
Yeah.
A little bit zany.
But yeah, the heart, like, I mean, even though it wasn't the best turn with Homer and Marge's relationship, I did think, like, you did feel a bit of the emotion there where he's standing out at the door.
Okay,
and...
the Polaroids was cute.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed that.
But
I mean, like, is it enough to balance out the whole rest of the show, though?
Well, no, I think
didn't
you're
think
right.
so.
It was a bit more clinical.
Formulaic.
Formulaic, yeah.
Clinical, formulaic. They got a lot of setup. They got a lot of knockdown, which they are relying on heavily. So it's kind of like a comic standing up and giving, like, their, like, joke after joke after joke after joke. Some of them work, and that's where a lot of the laughs came from for this one. It's like some of the setups and knockdowns were actually pretty good. I laughed.
Yep.
But in doing so, by making it clinical, you lose a lot of the heart. And then they had a brief stab at giving it some heart at the end by making Homer sad and slipping the photos under the door and like fitting in a little bit of a joke there with the cat falling down the stairs and I'm laughing in this photo. But it's kind of not enough to balance it out. So this feels like a very weirdly mixed episode. It's where you're getting a taste of the new wave of Simpsons, where you've got that clinicism and you've got a level of self-aware dryness, but at the same time, some of the jokes are good enough to make you laugh. And then they're fitting in a little bit of heart there, which does make you sort of like, oh, well, he's not completely bad.
Yeah.
So you kind of don't know at this point whether to stick with The Simpsons or to switch them off.
Yeah.
And you only keep them on because they've been so good to you in the past.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly why they're still on 28 years later. It's just they bought 8 years of goodwill with the season.
It's like such goodwill as well. It's
even then I still consider season 9 part of the classic era, but a lot of people don't because it starts out with Principal and the Pauper, the Armin Tanzarian episode.
I don't hate it. I like that one.
I don't hate it either, but I get where people who are pissed at it are coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, that'll be an episode for another time. So, ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
I
think you actually sort of nailed it.
with the yes and no.
Yeah, it's not quite either way.
Yeah, I mean, like, it definitely feels like, I don't know, like The Simpsons isn't dying at this point, but it's definitely spluttering.
It
Yeah.
kicked
It's
a
like
few
it's-
goals, but it
Yeah,
they were rare.
It's got a chesty cough,
Yeah.
and it's looked into its handkerchief, and there's a little bit of blood, but it's not telling you.
Jesus
You know?
Christ.
So
All right, moving on. Any other quotable moments before we rank this
Not
thing?
that I can remember,
No,
really. I think we covered them.
Oh, Homer says if kids figure out the link between exercise, eating well, and feeling good, then I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I like that one. That was
That was
just
pretty
a good
good
moment.
too.
definitely conspiracy there.
Yeah. No, I like it. Just the little self-awareness in that moment. Yeah, let's rank this thing. Kick it off for us, Dave. Where are you thinking?
Oh, this is tough.
Speak from the heart.
Yeah, okay. If it's from the heart, my first instinct is to give it a silver. And again, that is based very heavily on the goodwill of all prior episodes.
Yeah.
It still made me laugh. I can see a lot of things wrong with it, but it didn't feel like it was a total failure. It's verging on bronze. Like,
Well, bronze is still good.
bronze is... okay, I'm bronzing it.
You
I'm
sure?
bronzing it. Yeah, I'm changing from silver to bronze.
Whoops.
Yeah, not whoops.
Sorry, episode. I just knocked you down.
No, if anything, Elliot, you just opened my eyes. So yeah, I'm gonna bronze it. And I'm gonna do that again because it was only living off the goodwill of prior episodes. I got a few laughs out of it. There was the Mr. Burns as an ice cream, which, like, as a joke, I gotta say,
You really loved that.
I really loved it. I thought that was fantastic. It was The Simpsons like pulling up all the shit that they've previously pulled on Mr. Burns and that sort of vague sexualization of him that Smithers has done, and they just did it to Homer.
Yeah.
As ice cream, so like some weird sort of like food fetish thing that he's got going on. So I mean, like, there was definitely a lot psychologically going on with that joke, which I thought was cool. But just that joke alone is not enough to make this a great episode for me.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I
So
mean,
bronze?
again, I think it's this whole yes and no element to this episode. I want to give it a silver, but I can't. It's got to be bronze.
Fair enough.
It's got to be bronze.
How about you, Liz? Where are you leaning?
I'm kind of feeling exactly the same.
Yep.
What season is this?
18.
Season 18.
So I think this is actually the biggest jump I've ever done in the Simpsons index, going from season 1 to 18.
I was going to say if it was later, I would probably give it a silver.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to have to go with bronze because I was leaning between silver and bronze. I would probably even, I don't know if you can do this, but high bronze. It's a very, very shiny bronze. It could even pass for silver in sunlight,
Yeah.
but I'd have to still give it a bronze. It still feels quite early, and I could definitely see that this is the beginning of the end sort of thing. It's
Absolutely.
still
Spluttering
kind
blood.
of, yes,
Yeah.
spluttering. if this was a 20-something episode, I'd probably give it silver.
Yeah.
Because I laughed a lot, and that definitely doesn't happen in the later episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a bronze, but I did enjoy it.
Cool.
I laughed a lot, and I thought it was a good episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just briefly talking the eras, so there's a noticeable dip in quality from 15 to 18, because that was when the movie was in production. So, like, 15 to 18 is where you get the real stinkers. Like, 14 are the ones, like, kind of, like 11 to 14 are kind of like this one, where it's like, it was a good, but this moment fell flat, or that moment dragged out too long, or that was a bit whatever. But, yeah, during the movie seasons, everything is just on fire. Like,
Right.
and everything's bad. And this was a glimmer of hope in this otherwise shitty era.
Agreed.
Like, I would actually say they'd improve in some ways in the HD era, but, like, season 20 onwards, but not really. Anyway, long and rambling way for me to say that I'm also agreeing with the bronze. Yeah. Probably, again, like you said, shiny and good light, but yeah, bronze feels comfortable for this one. Yeah. All right, so now, speaking of the HD era, we are going to move on to there, and I am going to play you an episode called The Blue and the Grey. Now, at the moment, I listen to another Simpsons podcast called Worst Episode Ever. Don't know if you guys have heard of it, but they go through with episodes after season 10 and try and find the worst episode ever.
Ooh.
This is their current ranked worst episode ever.
Bring it.
All right.
And I, especially wanted to make sure you were on, Liz, because this episode is extremely sexist.
Yes!
I need a token female to gauge the sexism for us.
I'm glad to be the token pair of boobs.
Yeah. All right, so let's check out The Blue and the Grey. We are back. That was The Blue and the Grey, Season 22, Episode 13. Known as Worst Episode Ever's current Worst Episode Ever. Guys, what'd you think?
I don't know. I mean, it was definitely bad, but I think I may have seen worst episodes ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've definitely seen worst episodes, but I get where they're coming from because everyone is so mean to Marge. Like, and not a lot of funny comes out of it as well. Like, they're just ripping shreds on her the entire time. It's so sad.
Yeah.
So for those at home who may not have seen this one, this is one where Marge finds out that she's got grey hair, which is
weird because she's found that before.
Yep.
She's been grey as a mule since she was like 15 or 16.
Yeah, she was well aware of it. And they tried to patch it up with Julio going, oh no, the fumes will destroy your memory of ever being died. And it's like, no, that's lofty and at best. And as a B story, Mo, in a moment of desperation, decides to seek a relationship counseling seminar. And
wait, wasn't that the A story?
I'd say the A story's more about Marge's hair. It's
like Valentine's Day and Mo not having a date, so Mo...
Yeah, Mo not having a date, and then Marge has, like, the...
I'd say that's the B story, yeah.
Oh,
well, I mean,
it's
a bit mixed, because it starts out with the Mo story, which is where you'd traditionally start your A story before the B, but then... it gets pushed to the sideline.
Yeah.
And they do bring it back together at the end where they join the stories up, where Marge confronts Homer at the bar and then she finds out he's a wingman. I don't know. Like, I feel like even that was a shit twist because, like, it wasn't exactly like he was being secretive about it. I don't know that Homer wouldn't have told her that he's a wingman before.
No.
I don't know. There were...
I mean, like, it was definitely a concern of hers. Like, she's gone grey, so she's insecure, and then he's like out wingmanning it.
It's very Homer to not think of something like that too, though.
Yeah.
To be just not tell her. I thought that was a very Homer thing to do.
But I thought what the un-Homer thing to do was to just be instantly repelled by her. Like,
Yes,
he was
yeah.
such a dick.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Everybody being an asshole to her as well.
Yeah.
For being grey.
So do you agree with the statement, Liz, that it's a sexist episode, or?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
I don't feel like it's making a statement about all women who choose to dye their hair. Or
I thought that it was definitely it might not have been, I don't know, obvious enough, but it was definitely making a point of showing how women are definitely portrayed. That if you show grey, people are outraged. People think you're, oh, is your senior discount, or is there any other discounts that you might have, be aware of or whatever. Like, I thought it was trying to point and poke fun at the sort of, sexism in society, but it didn't quite reach. It didn't quite reach it. It kind of.
I don't know about that, because I mean, like, the whole graying thing I think is more so about ageism, but it definitely the whole doctor kissing her character, and like, women are going to believe that they will sleep with you in the first 6.5 seconds.
Well,
and,
that was definitely.
it's like,
That
what
was
you need
definitely
is a
sexist.
wingman, and you got no hope. You need someone to talk the fatty away so that the more attractive friend will sleep with you.
Okay,
And-
yeah,
Yeah,
good,
I
good
found that
point. All right,
moment.
yes, very
Yeah.
sexist.
So-
Okay,
so-
I
No, but
changed my
no,
mind.
you both bring up good points where it's like, okay, that storyline definitely sexist. That storyline maybe sexist, but maybe it was trying to say a greater thing. But it was
Yeah.
definitely mean spirited towards Marge. Maybe it was trying to say, like, have a big sexism conversation or joke or something. But one, there wasn't enough good material mined out of it, and two,
Yes.
no one made a greater point. It was just. At the end, oh, Marge, Mum, you dyed your hair blue again. How liberating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I thought dyeing my hair grey was liberating. Well, anything you do as a woman.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, I
just-
guess the moral of the story is this. Well, no, because this happened. Well, I guess the moral of the story is this. No, I guess. Well, look,
No.
it's an ending. An
Yeah.
ending is an ending.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an ending.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Quotable moments though. Things I liked. I liked Cat Lady and Dog Man.
I was gonna say that's the hardest. I laughed. The cat lady and dog man romance.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard.
Like
don't
the
know.
bit went on a bit too long, but like the whole like them discovering each other was very cute.
I may be drunk, but it was hilarious. I laughed really hard.
Well, yeah, and her, dropping the cat as you would a handkerchief, and then all of a sudden the dogs and cats are fighting while they're holding hands and being romantic. Oh, that's a good bit. I also, I don't know, for whatever reason, liked how the police car replaced the lights with love hearts in the opening Valentine's Day
That
scroll.
was cute. Yeah, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I look at it, I'm like, I wanted to hate it, but then I'm like, I can't help but like that. That's cute. It's cute.
Yeah. And I liked when Homer was at the bar and Lenny said, I'll pay you in a bottomless pitcher of beer and a circumferenceless plate of nachos. I just thought that was a
Yes.
great string of words.
The things
also-
I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
I also liked when Marge is standing there with her grey hair and she's like, "What do you think?" And then it to like flashes to Homer's brain.
Oh.
It has marriage preservation committee.
Yeah. We've all had that boardroom scene happen up in our own lives.
I thought that was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah, I think like the one little bit that I quite liked, it was like there were no lines in it, but it was Mo saying, well, I guess somewhere out there is a girl, there's someone meant for me.
Yeah.
And then it flashes to the other side of the world, and there is like a lady Mo out there. But then like the thing which signaturizes them as like a soulmate couple is that she puts her head in a noose.
Yeah, that
That's
was,
like that's Mo's thing.
And
It
then
wa-
they just cut.
it
and
was
then
very dark.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's like, I don't know what the joke there was. Like, are they similar in that she won't go through with it? Or, oh my God, I don't know.
Or is the
no.
joke in that like she kills herself and he has nobody, and then Mo is alone?
The one
Yeah.
person.
So it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, like, are they together because like she wants to kill herself as well? I was like, oh shit, she just killed herself.
Yeah.
Mo is definitely fucking alone.
He didn't seem to be doing too badly in the dating scene though. But
Yeah, true.
on the other hand, like I just didn't like any of that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But then I wonder, like, how did he cover the whole garlic and fish smell?
Garlic and fish smell, sorry?
From another episode.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah,
Well, this episode clearly doesn't care about continuity
No.
if they've got Marge forgetting that she's got grey hair.
Yeah.
I mean, she
Or
knows
got
that her
a grey
colour-
hair,
Yeah.
exactly.
She knows that her hair dye is blue number 12. like-
Exactly. Yeah, she's been dyeing her hair for, Mrs. Simpson.
Yeah.
Here is the dye. It's on special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was a fairly decent amount of inconsistencies in this episode compared to previous episodes.
Yeah. I think you mentioned it before we were recording, the joke about the hairdressers. Fuck, what was it again?
Harry Shearer.
Hairy shearers, yep.
And then the hairdresser was voiced by Hank Azaria.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Funny. I thought that was quite funny.
Yep, and Julio again making his appearance. He's a character that actually emerged in that 3 Gays of the Condo episode. And so he's been there since as their sort of go-to gay or Puerto Rican character.
There you go.
He's like a twofer.
I have to mention for quotability that I feel like I'm married to Richard Gere.
You liked that line? I thought that was so mean.
It was so mean, but I thought it was funny. And the last time we faked a stroke, it led to a real one. That was pretty funny.
What the hell do we do here? And there was a good visual gag where Marge does present herself with the grey hair and kids all drop their jaws. Homer puckers all their jaws up. And then because he's got no more limbs to push their jaws up, Maggie pushes his up with her hand.
Yeah, that's
nice
true.
visual bit. And the other visual bit I liked was when Marge goes, "What do you think when I say the word beautiful?" And he goes through all the blue women he can think of. Smurfette and the Avatar girl and a troll doll. And
Yeah, I definitely have a type.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got any more quotable moments? Because I think I'm ready to start ripping sharing shreds into this episode.
Something about Judi Dench as well. You know how she morphed into
Oh
Judi
yeah,
Dench.
it's like just
fucking
imagine
weird,
she's a
though.
Bond girl.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought that was quite nasty.
That was nasty, and then like doubles down on the weirdness by Homer hallucinating all the Bond villains.
Yeah.
So weird. All right.
All right, start ripping away.
Let's tear some shreds. Okay, so the doctor kissing her all around just was bad, I think. Circumferenceless nachos was the best thing to come out of that.
It was very nice.
I was
The
going to
whole
say
thing
that
was...
the the doctor kissing her thing reminded me of Tom Cruise in Magnolia.
Oh, I haven't
And
seen
he's
that.
he's like a total macho, like man activist. What's it like? What are they called? The
Menivist.
social
yeah, good.
activist
Yeah.
about trying to get pussy and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
and it kind of just reminded me of that. I thought that was
Yeah.
quite gross.
Yeah, I really wish they made a better point with those sorts of guys, with women feeling better about dyeing their hair. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
so mean-spirited. The whole thing with the AARP card in the supermarket, that was so drawn out. And yeah, as if Marge is going to look 60 at, I don't know I think she's 35 or something. Like, it's so mean.
Yeah,
The Gil thing, just when you're happy to see Gil in the picture, he goes on with something about pepperoni and chalets, and that drags on. It's just dad doing the Jack Lemmon voice.
Yes.
The whole thing with Superintendent Chalmers and Skinner. The whole face breach hand thing. It was just such bad banter.
Yeah. Though, mind you, I mean, like there would be some potential there. I think
there
to
could have been.
have Chalmers and Skinner as like wingman and.
Well, it was a thread that this episode sort of potentially set up, but didn't do anything with. Like the whole sort of weird, quick little Bart offshoot where Milhouse starts saying weird things, Bart beats him up, and then in a scene later on, he gets called to Principal Skinner's office. And I like that thing, actually, with Principal Skinner reading out the report from other students and going, "Oh, you punched Milhouse like 1 billion times. This is unacceptable, Bart."
Yeah, 50 billion times. That is an excessive amount of times, Bart. What's wrong?
But... Yeah, and then they do the whole thing to go into Dr. Lauren Pryor, and the camera and the jazz post.
Yeah.
It's just
weird.
Oh, and Lauren Pariah also going, oh, don't worry about Sherry and Terry. They just found out they used to be part of triplets, and the third one's out for revenge.
Yeah. Wasn't even funny.
No.
Just a weird...
No, it's like, if you're gonna mess with the continuity, at least have a good joke. Like,
Yes.
that bit where, in the episode where Milhouse's parents get divorced, and, like, Kearney gives him some reassuring advice on the past, my divorce was hard on my kid, but we worked out. And see
exactly.
Kearney's kid, and I sleep in a drawer. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome bit where,
Good joke.
like, you could come back another episode after that, Kearney doesn't have a kid, and, like, it doesn't really mean anything. 'Cause
Yeah, true.
the joke was good enough.
Yeah.
To break that continuity, but this one, not really.
No, I agree. I did like the Patty and Selma hair gag with the ash. I thought that was a bit funny.
Yeah, that starts out good, and then it has the whole thing with the plane crashing, and you're like, oh, well, that's too much.
Yeah.
I agree.
Plane crash was definitely too much.
Unnecessary.
The only thing that I liked about that joke is that they did go back to the same hair color as when they got their hair done. That one time, and there was like
yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore, and
yeah.
so that they stuck with the original colors, which I think was cool.
Yeah,
But
don't
they
listen to
smoke
him.
so much that it keeps piling up. That's a good bit.
And it looks like ash and gray blue.
Yeah.
Gray blue. Mentioning the reference to the title, drink.
But yeah, and then and then the woman in the coffee shop saying to Marge, "Oh, is a coffee wise with what I'm assuming is your heart condition?" And they're just such mean joke.
Yeah,
It's-
it's just unnecessary. It's not funny. It's not. I think, like I said before, it would have been good if it was saying something about sexism, but it wasn't. It was like it wasn't even aiming for the point.
No.
It just didn't get there. Maybe it wasn't self-aware.
No.
It was trying to be self-aware, but it just didn't.
It definitely
know.
lacks the subtlety of the earlier seasons where they do social commentary on in a more subtle way. Like
Exactly. I don't know what phallocentric is, but no girls. Exactly.
Actually, one thing I will mention is in the self-aware element is when the kids start freaking about their own hair, and like where their heads end and their hair begins. Yeah, and it's like, where is my head? Where is my hair? What are we? You know, and then it cuts back to them like having like existential freakouts about who they are and where their hair is, and
I didn't really read too much into that.
no, I mean like it
but
definitely like highlights that self-aware element of The Simpsons in the later episodes.
I guess so.
But yeah, it's the wrong kind of self-aware. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's like they've read like internet comments and sort of like, oh, where does Bart's hair end and his head begin?
Yeah.
You know, how come he hasn't mentioned that whenever he does his hair in the morning? And then they thought, all right, I'll have to put that into an episode to address it at some point, and then they just did it. You know, I mean, what the hell? That's not good writing. That's just pandering.
Yeah. And absolutely, like, they could have... It might have actually been a good joke if it was just quicker. Like, just... Lisa goes, I don't know where my hair ends and where my face begins. Cut. Like, they didn't have to keep harping on and have her draw in the line. And, like... There was a good joke in a later episode. I can't remember which one it was from, but for whatever reason, the Simpsons have to stay inside for an extended period of time. And...
An
Bart
inner
goes,
box episode, yeah.
Huh?
An inner box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bart goes, come on, I need sunshine. My hair's reverting to its natural red. And he pulls off his cap, and you see, like, he's, like, got full red hair. And he goes, the kids are going to call me Rusty again.
What?
See that.
It's a good joke. I can't remember if it's a good episode or not, though.
Okay.
So hard to recommend it at this stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good joke. It was quick, and it was over and done with that quickly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that definitely does it for the general chat. So, do you see yourself watching this one again?
No.
Not really.
I hope I don't either. No.
Seriously? Like Marge becoming a witch?
Yeah, that bit. Yeah, that whole series of errors. Oh, yeah, and after that, there was that bit where they referenced the guy who's got that voice and how he's like taken on so many different forms over the years. They have actually got a name for him now. He's called Raphael.
Raphael.
Oh,
Yeah,
is it
so
this-
anytime you hear that voice,
Ah,
Raphael.
yeah.
And so-
yeah.
and so yeah, they
Mr.
had
Simpson, you cannot open the door. yeah.
Yeah. There was a voice
How
that was
about inventing some underpants?
yeah. There's a very Smithers voice, though. I can't remember which character it was, so it was definitely Smithers' voice. Do you remember?
It was the psychologist.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes,
yes,
you're right,
Lauren
yeah.
Pryor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very Harry Shearer.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it was really weird because it was nice to see that character again, but it was undercut by the fact that he had no jokes and didn't do anything.
There was absolutely no jokes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And then it cut to Chalmers and Skinner, and he wasn't
perving
there.
on Bart for no reason.
Exactly. I know, it
Yeah.
was weird.
And they could have done that from the open door. Like, I don't know why they needed a
Unnecessary.
hearing camera.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, and yeah, Marge turning into a witch thing was like, I don't know, I'd float between whether it's funny or not, because like, I think the ultimate point to make her look like a witch like was gross, but like the way it happened was kind of funny. How she swallows the mascara and then feet step in the water, so the shoes wharf, and then
And then
but
all of
then,
a sudden
like-
there's cats.
but
and-
then yeah, Luigi chucking the bucket of chum on her was a bit much.
Yeah. It wasn't funny. It wasn't really part of the plot, except
Yeah.
to just make her uglier.
Yeah,
It was
which
because
is not
she's already
nice.
so disgustingly ugly because she's
'Cause
grey.
she's grey, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, it was wackiness to elaborate on the fact that she was grey and ugly
Yeah.
and old and a witch. And,
So yeah, it's just mean spirited.
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah, the heart doesn't really come through when Homer and her reconcile at the end.
No, because there's nothing learnt.
No,
It feels
And there is
cheap.
No.
nothing. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing. There's a resolution, but there is no redemption in any way or.
No,
Yeah.
you get more closure out of that episode where they're staring at the giant ugly Olmec head. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Olmec.
Yeah.
Olmec.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you guys, but I don't think it felt like an episode of The Simpsons.
No.
It tried to feel like an episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah. I mean, like, it felt like some weird dead thing wearing a Simpsons skin and walking around.
You know what
It
it feels
was-
like? It feels like people have like there's these little figurines, and it's like they've gotten someone off the street to play with the figurines and make an episode, and it's like, have you ever watched The Simpsons? Really?
Yeah.
Like they've got the characters and they've got the little figurines and they're making them do things and they've got like a plot, but it has nothing to do with any previous episodes. It's like someone has put together an episode without ever seeing any previous episodes and
Yeah.
knowing what the characters' motivations are and what their, connections to each other are.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's that thing like I was saying before, how they sneak the writers in the animation. So the one who wrote this episode was the crazy dog person.
Maybe. Yeah. That was probably
Yeah.
the only thing I liked about this episode. Was the
Actually,
cat-
no, if it was him, the episode would read more like, tasted like bark. And
Yes.
the beak was really rough.
Yes.
So, do you want to rip any more shreds off this one, or should we rank it already?
I don't know. To kind of like go further on my analogy of this is something else wearing a Simpson skin. It's kind of like you don't realize it until it's close enough to hurt you. It's like, hey, that looks like the Simpsons. Oh yeah, hey Simpsons, how are you? What? No! Yeah, and then by that point, it's already done its dirty work. You feel damaged.
Wearing a Simpsons
Yeah,
suit.
you're reaching out,
Yeah.
sir, can you help me? And then the person turns around, it's Flower Face.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Or it's
What
the-
Stranger Things on Netflix? And give me money, I just promoted your ass.
buy my cereal.
Yes.
By the way, Elliot, you need to make a cereal.
Yes.
Like real quick.
I want to make the Stranger Things cereal. It's only got 11 grams of sugar per serve.
Nice.
It's mostly slugs.
Oh. Marshmallow slugs.
Yeah.
There's something in that.
Yeah. Marshmallow slugs and Eggos.
She really likes Eggos. Liz, did you have any more there? Or
Not really.
All right, so I'm
Very
kicking
little.
off the rankings. Look, while I don't agree with Worst Episode Ever podcast that it is the worst episode ever, there's definitely worse. I think this is still a failure in my books. It's too mean to Marge. And, Marge is great. It's just, she needs to be the stick in the mud. She's not the, I don't know, person you make fun of relentlessly for no reason. Where are you leaning, Liz?
I was actually, because I may be a little bit drunk. I laughed a lot. I was thinking participant. But since hearing your comments actually on the episode, I have changed to failure because a lot of your points are completely correct. And yes, it didn't feel like it did shit on the legacy of The Simpsons. There was nothing about it that really, fit in the catalogue of The Simpsons that I love.
No
Absolutely.
redeemable factor.
How about you, Dave?
Well, yeah, I was failing this thing from about halfway through. Again, I always want to give The Simpsons a chance, but this one just it couldn't. It couldn't.
It didn't give you a
You
chance.
seem so sad.
I do. I mean, I love The Simpsons. I don't want to fail The Simpsons, but I have to. I have to. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
In any real respect. I mean, I didn't even really chuckle. The only part of this that I thought was remotely funny was Bart and Milhouse fighting, but that's just because I'm sick like that.
Well, there were good visual gags there with Milhouse beating him up with the lunchbox and Bart slamming his head onto the seesaw, but
I
again,
mean,
they didn't even run with that bit long enough to let it.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm kind of glad that they didn't run that longer than it was because, again, that just would have stretched out and fell flat.
And become one of those long,
Exactly,
stretched out
yeah.
jokes
So-
that didn't go anywhere.
So I mean, I kind of like seeing the characters hit each other up a little bit, but that was about it. Nothing else was good. I did kind of like that whole sort of the darker side of Moe's soulmate killing herself as well. Again, because I'm fucking sick like that. But again, no. I mean, there wasn't enough here for me to say, this is a good episode of The Simpsons. You fucking failed.
That's true. And just on Moe again, God, Simpsons, can you please stop being so mean to Moe as well? I think we all groaned when kissing her went up to him and goes, a monster. Oh my God, that was unprofessional. That was just mean.
Yeah.
That was mean. I mean, Moe is kind of a little bit of the punching bag. From The Simpsons writer side of things, at least in the newer episodes, but he shouldn't be. I mean, Gil is the punching bag. If you're gonna be mean to someone, you be mean to Gil because that's the funny thing about Gil. With Moe, he's supposed to be an aggressive member of the team. He's supposed to pull out the shotgun and be like, hey, you stop doing that.
Well, I guess that's the thing. When in older episodes, when they'd make joke against Moe being sort of a bit of a troll, it's because he was acting uncouth at the time, or if they're just ripping on him relentlessly, then it comes back and they're doing a love story with him, the episode where he dated whoever Helen Hunt voiced, and the one where he dated a little person. Those were great Moe episodes.
But even how he was a boxer and then he was handsome.
Oh, it was gorgeous
then I was
Kid
Kid
Moe.
Presentable.
Kid Presentable, and then Kid Moe, and
then
then,
I was
just Moe.
Just Kid Moe, yeah.
I'll have to bring around the one where he dates a little person. I doubt you guys have seen that one.
I
have not seen.
There's
Sounds
a lot
new.
of heart in that episode.
Oh.
Yeah, it's season 20. It's definitely a HD one.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, well, yeah, that's about good for Simpsons Index episode 15.
There you go.
Dave and Liz, thank you again for having me tonight.
Oh, it was
Our
completely
pleasure.
our pleasure.
Yep. Yeah, and for everything else, check out the Simpsons Index.com. Oh, wait, my ending thing does that. What do I say now? Oh, yeah. And that was Dave and Liz, and that was the Simpsons Index. I'm Elliot J. O'Neill, never tapping out.
Nah.
Thank you for checking out the Simpsons Index podcast. Don't forget to go to www.thesimpsonsindex.com for the spreadsheet and information about upcoming episodes.
Alright, just a quick test. Dave, can you talk into your mic?
I have slightly sweaty testicles. Slightly sweaty testicles.
And you, Liz?
I have slightly sweaty testicles. I have slightly sweaty testicles.
Wait,
And-
what?
And we are back. That was... Jesus. Yeah. 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 Yeah.